Hey guys, welcome back. In the position rankings, we're getting close to a finish here. We got the offensive tackles, which we will be talking about today. And then next week, or later on this week, I should say, we're going to be talking about the corners. And then that's it. I'll go over my big board here, and I'm pretty excited about kind of where this is headed. So if you guys are new to the channel, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. We're getting so close to the NFL draft. I will be going live for the NFL draft all 3 days. So if you guys want to watch, be sure to stay tuned for that. And I'm super, super excited about this. So let's go ahead and get into my top 15. But before we do that, let's take a quick look at some honorable mentions who didn't quite make the list. Christian Jones out of Texas is a guy that I think is going to end up going around round 4, early round 5. I really like him. Garrett Greenfield from South Dakota State is another guy. I think he's a very solid offensive tackle prospect. Travis Glover from Georgia State as well. There are some guys here. If you guys want my full in-depth breakdowns, I will leave the link to the playlist, and you guys can go see who some of my top players in the draft are at every single position. I've done over 150 of those at this point. So let's go ahead and get into it. At number 15, we've got Blake Fisher out of Notre Dame. This is a guy who's a very raw tackle. He's only 20 years old or 21 years old, I believe. So he's still got a lot of upside. Really solid size for the position, great length. You like that. He's a better mover than I think his testing numbers are going to lead you to believe. Maybe didn't have the highest RAS score, didn't look like one of the most elite athletes, but when you watch him, he's a better mover. He's got really good footwork. His hands are very solid as well in pass protection. I think he's got a lot of tools that you really value in an offensive tackle. Some of the issues, he plays very high in terms of his pads. He's not able to really generate power from his lower body, which also leads to him getting pushed off balance and his anchor. On top of that, he doesn't really have the recovery speed that you want to see. Got beat on his outside shoulder at times, and then he got overextended his blocks in the run game. So there's some issues there, but you can see the upside. I think his size is very impressive. Reminds me a lot of Wanya Morris from Oklahoma last year, a guy who we saw the upside, we saw the potential. We knew he was going to be a bit of a project. Kansas City developed him, probably going to be the full-time starter next year, you would hope. I think Blake Fisher is going to be built in a very similar vein, and he's at number 15. At number 14, maybe a bit low for some people, I've got Kieran Amaji from Yale. He's got another player. A lot of these guys have really solid size. He's a great athlete as well, especially in the run game. He's got a high motor also in the run game, which I think was an area that I was really impressed with. This is a guy who just plays hard every single play. He's athletic. He's got good foot speed, good hand. But the issue with some of these guys, they just don't play hard till the last snap. Kieran Amaji does. Until the very last snap, he is looking to make a play, and I love that. An issue some people are going to have is he's an FCS player. I'm not too worried about that. He's been very productive. He's got the player, not the helmet. He's got all the tools you look for him, except the balance. That's an issue I noticed with him. Had the tendency to lunge, play off balance, miss his assignments in the second level. So I'd like to see that improve for him. He's also got a bit of an injury history. Tore his quad this year. Only was in a few games for Yale before missing the rest of the season. That pushes him down my board significantly. Reminds me of Cam Robinson from the Jaguars. Very good athlete, good motor, good size. I think he's going to end up going probably around the late round 3 range, but I do really like Kieran Amaji. Think he's going to be a solid player at the next level. At number 13, my guy in this class. I know a lot of you guys watching this probably don't have Delmar Glaze on your radar. If you don't, be sure to go check out my full-length video on him. Look, the numbers aren't elite. You're going to look at it. Third team, all Big Ten this year was great. The numbers aren't amazing in pass protection, but I think he's better than we give him credit for. This is a very toolsy prospect. He's got the size. He's very athletic, moves well in the run game. His footwork is very good, moves his feet really well. He's got great hands in pass protection as well. One of my guys, I've liked him for a very long time, but you look at the production numbers, you're like, okay, something's missing here because he's allowed quite a bit of pressures, hits, and sacks over his collegiate career. Against more powerful edge rushers, he did struggle. He was pushed off balance, didn't have the strongest anchor in the world. I'd like to see him improve on that. But this is a guy who I think has a lot of tools that we aren't talking about. He's my number 13 tackle in this class. Some people have talked about him swinging inside to play guard. I could see that happening. I think he's got the upside to do it. He's definitely athletic enough. Reminds me of Nicholas Petit-Frere out of Ohio State from a few years ago. Very athletic. A lot of the same tools. Has ended up playing a bit of tackle, a bit of guard at the NFL level. I think that's what Delmar Glaze is going to be. I don't think we're giving him enough respect in this draft class, and he's my number 13 tackle. At number 12, we've got Kingsley Suame. I've moved him down my board pretty significantly. You see some of these things, and he just gets so lost at times, confused on blitzes and stunts. He's very versatile. He played tackle. He played guard. He took center reps at the Senior Bowl. This is a guy who can play almost anywhere on your offensive line. He's got the size, very raw upside. He's young. He's got a ton of upside to develop into one of the better tackles, guards, wherever you want him in the NFL. But he has a lot of question marks for me. His balance, he lunges a lot, just does not play the way I would like to see. He plays with high pads, lost a step on the outside shoulder pretty significantly, and his IQ was not there. He got confused on blitzes and stunts and couldn't really pick up free rushers the way that I would like to see. He's going to go in the second round, I think, because I think people are going to fall in love with the athletic upside. I get it. He was higher on my board. I believe I had him around 8, but as I finalized this list, I was like, Kingsley's just not there for me. You see some of these all-22 highlights, and he's just looking around for a guy to block. He doesn't know. He doesn't have that IQ level there that I think some of these other guys have. I think that's very important. He's my number 12 tackle. I know it's low for some people. And the athleticism is there. He's an incredibly fluid mover, but he's just missing some of the other key tools I would like. At number 11, we got Dominic Staten from Kansas. I absolutely love this guy. Another guy can play all 5 positions. He's played at left tackle for Kansas, so we have him listed with the tackles in this group. Another very athletic guy who also got beat on the outside. Him and Kingsley, really, really close for me. I really like his anchor, though. He plays with very, very good balance. He's got really good lower body strength. He's really solid in both pass protection and run protection. Another guy who plays with high pad, doesn't really generate that power from his lower body, but it is there. This has been a big riser for me throughout the draft process. His run blocking, I think, can improve a little bit. He takes some poor angles at times. So I'd like to see him improve on that, tighten up the angles a little bit more. But I think he's a good tackle prospect who's got quite a bit of upside. He's got some versatility, which you absolutely love. Reminds me a lot of Matthew Bergeron from Syracuse last year. Just a guy who you could take, play tackle, might end up being able to play guard, might play right tackle. He could play literally all 5 positions for you. I love that versatility. I love the athleticism. I like the footwork. He's my number 11 tackle. At number 10, we've got Patrick Paul out of Houston. One of the most polarizing players in the draft class. I understand it. The size is pretty ridiculous, though. The arm length, I believe he's got an 84-inch wingspan. You absolutely love that. If you look at the numbers, he might be the best pass protector, pure pass protector in the entire draft class. He has unbelievable anchor and balance. It never seems like he's pushed off balance. He just can hold his block very, very well. He's got a high IQ as well. Did a good job of reading blitzes, stunts, was able to make plays there, which you absolutely love to see from a tackle. The issues really come from his run blocking. Now, one thing that he does struggle with, inconsistent technique. Will play low for one play high the next, up and down in terms of his hand placement. So I'd like to see that improve. He is very unathletic on the field. He does not move very well into the second level. He is not very good on pull plays. He gets completely lost in the run game, missed assignments, whiffs. A guy who I really, really just despised when I first watched him. I'm like, this guy is not good. Turn on the tape again, you see some upside there in pass protection. A team like Miami or Kansas City that loves to pass the ball, Patrick Paul could be the perfect guy for your scheme, but you need some run blocking upside. That's why he's at 10. Very similar to Braxton Jones from the Bears in terms of his size. I think the upside is there with Paul. I think he could be an early 3rd round pick. This isn't where I think they're going to get drafted. These are guys that I would take over whoever. I think Paul's my number 10 tackle. I think the upside is certainly there. And number 9 is a new addition, a guy who I hadn't really studied until this past weekend. So maybe it's recency bias, but I really love Roger Rosengard. He was completely exposed against Michigan. Let's forget about that game. Every other game on the tape that I looked at, he looked very solid. Maybe the best athlete at the tackle position in this draft class. His movement abilities in the run game is absolutely incredible. I think he's a perfect fit for San Francisco. That is the dream fit for me for Roger Rosengard. He does play with some high pads at times as well. His anchor is a bit iffy, was kind of pushed off balance. He's not the biggest guy in the world. This is another guy I could see swinging guard, but he's so light on his feet. He moves so fluidly. There was one play in the Oregon game where he was just moving. He looked like a tight end out there. He was incredibly athletic. He is a violent finisher too. Very good with his hands. His hand placement can improve, but when he has good hand placement, he's violent. Very good in the run game. I think he's going to end up being a very good tackle in the league, probably another third-round pick, but I don't think we're giving enough appreciation to Roger Rosengard, and that's why I've got him at number 9. I think he's going to be a really solid tackle in the NFL. At number 8, we've got Jordan Morgan out of Arizona. I think he's a very versatile player as well, a guy who can play tackle, and he has been the left tackle for the Wildcats. Was very productive, very good athlete. He's very strong in both his upper and lower bodies, which you really love to see. Very balanced, plays with a strong anchor, very hard to move, but his arms are a bit short for the position. You don't love to see that. He struggled against quicker, faster pass rushers, which unfortunately is something that I don't love. He's also got an injury history, tore his ACL in 2022, came back in 2023, was very good for Arizona, but there are concerns there with Jordan Morgan. And I think he could be a good player. He might swing to guard, which is where a lot of people are thinking. I like to think I'm one of the first people that was on that because I hadn't really seen a lot of people talk about him being guard. And I talked about that in my video, which came out back in January. And now it seems to be the popular belief. I'll give myself a half pat on the back for that one. But he reminds me of Deion Dawkins in terms of his size, in terms of his movement abilities. I think he's a good athlete, very good run blocker, good in the pass game as well. I think he's got upside. He's my number 8 tackle. At number 7, we've got Tyler Guyton from Oklahoma. This is another guy similar to Kingsley Suame that is very raw. You can see some issues with him. Missed assignments in the run game. His help blocking, very similar to Kingsley, not a very good help blocker, just didn't read plays very well. If a guy to his left was getting beat, he just kind of stood there looking for his guy. You didn't love that. His footwork could drastically improve. He's got really good size for the position, though. I believe he's around 6'7". He's very, very athletic for the tackle position. Incredible strength as well. He's a mauler. He can move incredibly well. There's a lot to really love about Tyler Guyton, a guy who's probably going to go in the first round because of the raw athletic upside. Oklahoma produces good tackle prospects. Mike McGlinchey's my comp. Solid right tackle, not as a prospect, but if we look at just like pure tackles, I think there's a lot of similarities between Guyton and McGlinchey. Good size, athletic. He is a bit raw, but the upside is certainly there, and I could see him having a nice career. I've got him at number 7. At number 6, this is going to be low for some people. It's J.C. Latham. I like J.C. Latham. He's going to probably go in the top 20. There seems to be some buzz that the Titans are really interested in him if Joe Alt is off the board. I don't hate it. He's got really good size. Another guy who people have considered swinging to guard because he's very, very athletic. He did a really good job in the run game, getting to the second level. He's got a strong anchor and good footwork. He's good in run blocking. He's a good pass blocker. I have some issues, though, and it starts with his motor. This is a guy who gave up on way too many plays, and that's half the reason why he's at number 6, because I just didn't like it. If you're giving up on plays too early, you're putting your quarterback in jeopardy. This is a guy who didn't fight till the last whistle. Way too many times. He just let the guy go. He stopped moving before it was over. He also struggled against quicker pass rushers than we had the foot speed to get back, but he seemed to consistently give up a step to other players. Latham is a good tackle. He's going to be solid in the NFL. You hope this isn't another Alex Leatherwood. I fear it could be. I think if we're talking about players with the highest bust potential, it is J.C. Latham. But I also think he also has some of the highest upside as well. That's why he's at number 6. Reminds me a lot of Titus Howard from the Houston Texans. We'll see what ends up happening. Hopefully he can tighten that up, be a little bit better, but I've got him at number 6. At number 5, we've got Amari Mims from Georgia. Mims is one of my guys for a very long time. I watched him over the summer. I'm like, this dude is going to be the number 1 tackle next year. He's not at number 1, but he's an absolute unit. Very fluid for his size, too. And even we saw it at the combine. This guy moves way better than he should be able to move at his size. As a pass protector, he counters pass rush moves really, really well. Does a good job at fighting off defenders' hands. He's got really solid hands as well. The issue with Mims and why he's not higher, didn't get to see him a lot. This was the year that everyone's like, okay, this is Amari Mims. We saw him in the college football playoff last year. He was fantastic. Now we got to see him for the full year, and he got injured, so we didn't get to see very much of him. He also had his ups and downs in run blocking, which is a concern. He's an okay run blocker, not the best, so that can improve. I think he's very good as a pass protector. Penei Sewell is my comp. I know it's high, again, not really as a prospect, but I think his upside is the highest of any of these tackles. I think he's going to be very good. I've got him at number 5. At number 4, we've got Titus Fuaga out of Oregon. Another guy who I really like. Very good athlete. Another guy who people have considered moving to guard. Strong anchor. He's a mauler. Nasty run blocker. He's good as a pass protector. Good as a run blocker as well. He had a weird thing, though. He struggled against smaller pass rushers and not necessarily your big power guys. He had the anchor to combat power. He has the quickness. He just seemed to struggle against smaller pass rushers for whatever reason. He also had some whiffs in the second level. I think he's going to go in the top 20. I think he's fantastic. I think he has all the tools you look for, whether it's at guard or tackle. I like him quite a bit. Reminds me of Tristan Wirfs out of Tampa Bay. Really, really good tackle over there. I don't think he's going to be a left tackle. I think he's strictly a right guy at the league, but the upside is there, and I've got him at number 4. At number 3, it's Troy Fautanu out of Washington. He's got excellent footwork for the position. Now, he is a bit of a weirder play style than others. This guy is unbelievable, though. He's excellent as a run blocker. He's a good pass protector as well. He's versatile, though. A lot of people were worried. They're like, oh, he's going to be guard at the next level. His arms are too short. He had very good length at the combine, which really caught some people off guard. We weren't expecting that. There was a guy who got beat to his outside shoulder more times than I would like to have seen. Just got beat outside, and I want to see that improve. He had issues with lunging. His balance was off at times, but I don't really see a lot of flaws in his game. He's going to be the second tackle off the board behind my number 1 guy, but I think he has a lot of upside. I've got him at number 3 because I think we're sleeping on a guy, but I've got him at number 3. At number 2, it's Olu Fosu. I absolutely love this guy. I don't know why. There seems to have been a complete shift in the narrative around Olu Fosu. This is a guy who I think goes in the top 15. He's got ideal size. He's very, very strong, and he's a better mover than we give him credit for. He plays high at times. He struggled against powerful pass rushers, JT Tuimoloau. Run blocking has his up and downs. This guy has a lot of the tools you look for, the length, the size, the athleticism. The pass blocking is very good. He's an okay run blocker. He's not bad. He might not be your guy to get to the second level like some of these other guys, but Olu Fosu is a damn good tackle that no one is talking about. He reminds me of Andrew Thomas coming out of Georgia, a guy who you could see the upside with. He might take a couple years to really get there, but when he does, I think Fosu has a chance to be one of the best tackles in the NFL draft. And at number 1, we've got Joe Alt. I don't really know what I can say that hasn't been said already. He's got the size, the hand placement, the feet, good as a run blocker, good as a pass blocker. He stops moving his feet, which is my big complaint. He'll make contact, and then his feet stop moving rather than continuing to drive his feet. Would like to see that improve. He has his ups and downs against speedier pass rushers, but he reminds me of Colton Miller, who is one of the better left tackles in the league. Joe Alt is dare I say, a generational tackle prospect. He's going to come in, be one of the best tackles right away. But that's going to do it for me in this video, guys. Let me know who your guys' top tackles are in the draft class. Leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.